Today we're taking on another Tiki classic with bourbon, the Tropical Itch. There were at least a couple of historic cocktails with the name Tropical Itch, but the most iconic one is from Harry Yee at the Hawaiian Village. While we think of Tiki and tropical cocktails being native to Hawaii, they were not. People like Don the Beachcomber and Trader Vic imported their style of drinks to Hawaii, but Harry Yee created something new. He's credited as the first bartender to add a parasol to a drink as well as an orchid. He created drinks like the Blue Hawaii, Hawaiian Eye, Hawaiian Cooler, the Tropical Itch, and many, many more. But today's take on the Tropical Itch is inspired by a modern version you can find at 3 Dots and a Dash in Chicago. Now, don't worry though, because soon we will circle back to Harry Yee to take a deeper look at his life and his contributions to cocktails, and we'll make something blue. But before we get to today's cocktail, today's video is brought to us by Original Grain Watches. And if you go to originalgrain.com/drink and use the code DRINK, you'll save an extra 10% off, and they're running up to $100 off site-wide for Father's Day, and you can stack that discount code on top for the lowest price ever. Original Grain has delivered over 500,000 timepieces. It is veteran and family-owned, started by two brothers in the Pacific Northwest. The watch that I chose is the minimalist 40mm whiskey espresso. It's simple, lightweight, and it just looks cool. Original Grain makes watches from sustainable materials, and in addition to whiskey barrels, has worked with Taylor Guitars, Toyota TRD, and Bob Marley. Their latest partnership is with Jack Daniel's, where they are offering this collection of 4 unique timepieces made with authentic Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. Remember, you can go to originalgrain.com/drink and use the code DRINK, and you'll save an extra 10% off. They're running up to $100 off site-wide for Father's Day. Now, the only recipe I came across that seemed somewhat official from 3 Dots and a Dash was in Whiskey Advocate, so I'm not entirely sure that this is 100% accurate, but it is a simplified version of the cocktail and a modern take on it. The recipe calls for Angostura bitters, tangerine juice, but I'm subbing in clementines instead, lemon juice, and then passion fruit puree, as well as a 2-to-1 simple syrup. So instead, I'm just going to use this passion fruit syrup that I usually keep on hand and adjust the measurements slightly. I'll include the full recipe I found online as well in this episode's description. You'll also need falernum, bourbon, and an overproof Jamaican rum. I'm going to build the Tropical Itch in a drink mixer tin, starting with 4 dashes of Angostura bitters, half an ounce of falernum, 3/4 ounces of a passion fruit syrup, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of a tangerine juice, or in this case, clementine, 1 ounce of an overproof rum, and 1.5 ounces of bourbon. I'm going to garnish with some pineapple fronds, a slice of lime, an umbrella, twisty straw, an orchid, and of course, a back scratcher. So there you go, the Tropical Itch. Well, you have to love the outlandishness of these garnishes from Chicago. They're always so over the top, but so cool. I mean, so many different elements, just layers upon layers, but it really adds to the whole modern Tiki tropical vibe for me. So let's try the Tropical Itch from 3 Dots and a Dash. I think the last Tropical Itch I had was a couple years ago at Splitsville in downtown Disney. I remember not loving it. This one on paper, I think the bourbon as well as Smith & Cross, 2 pretty heavy flavors that might be competing against each other, but somehow they both take a backseat to, I think, just the overall juicy quality of this. Some acidity there from the lemon juice, but the clementines that I use. So instead of tangerines, I use clementines, and just like a nice sweet pop that's different, just a skew different from orange juice. And then obviously, anytime you use pretty much anything more than 1/4 ounce of passion fruit syrup, it's going to come through. So it has that intensely juicy flavor from that passion fruit and the juices in it. I'm kind of surprised how much I do like this, because I just think looking for, an interesting bourbon cocktail, and this is one of, if not the most sort of popular bourbon tiki cocktail, but I've never quite loved the iterations I've had in the past. But this one, it's fantastic. So I did find this on a whiskey website, and it did call for a bonded bourbon, which I did not use. So if you're using a bonded bourbon, you want to use something that's 100 proof. I use Wild Turkey 101, so the same in my book. But what's just unique is it's not super bourbon forward. Sometimes you make these bourbon cocktails and you think like, okay, hey, if you love bourbon, here's a cocktail for you. This one, it's not gonna scratch that itch if you're looking for a bourbon cocktail. But if you're looking for something tropical and juicy and just slightly different by using bourbon as the base spirit, then this is an excellent choice. And somehow, I don't know how, I don't really get the Smith & Cross as much. That worried me a little. I thought it was going to overwhelm everything else, as it sometimes does. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. But in this, it's just, there's some rumminess in the background, but it's not too overly funky or anything like that at all. So there you go, the Tropical Itch. And I think, to be honest, just because of this cocktail, I came in with some pretty low expectations, but that's my fault. I should not have. Pretty much anything from 3 Dots and a Dash, or that came out of Lost Lake, are amazing cocktails, and this is just another one. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like below. Consider subscribing to the channel. Check out the Patreon page if you want to support the channel more. And otherwise, I will see you on the next one.
Sing, Hawaii, sing, sing with joyous heart.